deep, all in by a deep, all in by a deep, all I bless my foot, oh, by rose, in by a deep, all we may be seated. Honorable Councillors, the Chief Executive Officer, Senior Executives, the Administration of the Rehbof Town Council, most importantly, the residents, which is the people of Rehbof, and those following this meeting online, good afternoon. Today we are gathered to mark the beginning of a new chapter in the lives of our town. A new council has been entrusted with the responsibility to lead, to decide, and most importantly, to serve. Allow me to first greet and welcome every councillor present here today. I also extend my appreciation to our Chief Executive Officer, the senior management team, and the entire administration of the Rehbof Town Council, who continued to carry the daily weight of running this local authority. To the residents of Rehbof and those watching online, this institution belongs to you, and we are here because of you. Before we speak about the road ahead, it is only right that we acknowledge the road already traveled. Hence, I would like to acknowledge the previous council that has laid important groundwork. They made progress in developing our town and in pushing forward projects that continue to benefit our people to this day. Leadership is not about erasing what came before you. Leadership is about building on it. The baton has been passed on to us, and it is now our duty to carry it forward with the same vigor, the same determination, and the same commitment to the people of Rehbof. At this juncture, I would also like to congratulate Captain Brits for his recognition as the captain of the Pastor Gemeente Traditional Authority. It has been a long-awaited project, and we are finally happy that in the books and in every corner of Rehbof, there is a Pastor Traditional Authority being recognized. This is not only a significant milestone for the individual in the name of Captain Brits, but to the indigenous people of Rehbof, as well as the country at large, where inclusion is the cornerstone. To my fellow councillors, we were elected from different spaces, different ideas, and different political homes. But once we sit in these chambers, we sit for one reason only: the common good of our people. The previous council demonstrated that when all leaders pull together, progress becomes possible. Let us show the same unity of purpose. Now, I have to report back on what we did since the inception of the new council to date. We cannot stand idle and unappreciative to the fact that these individuals that were elected, the councillors, have already made significant strides into securing that our people would have the best services at their disposal. And it is important, the message that we always go out with is that the Namibian nation acknowledge the fact that Rehoboth is the biggest town in population south of Windhoek. No other town south of Windhoek is bigger than Rehoboth in population. Therefore, it is quite important when we go out to meet important stakeholders that we spread this message to say that Rehoboth is too big to be just appropriated little funds. This is our advocacy for Rehoboth. If the Namibian government wants development to reach the grassroots level people, the Namibian government must recognize that Rehoboth is the biggest population-wise town in the Hardap region and Karas combined together. So with that said, let me report back on what we did up till now. We have visited various stakeholders. First, it is courtesy and traditional to visit the office of the Hardap governor because we are residing under his authority. That visit was to inform the governor and the regional council what are the agendas that the Rehoboth Town Council would want to push and how they are going to include us as Rehoboth in their plates for the region. Then we visited also the Namibian Planning Commission. It was quite a significant visit whereby the Rehoboth Town Council once again introduced themselves and they give report on the national development goals, how they implemented and how progressively they will implement. It is there that we were given direction by the National Planning Commission and where linkages were also shared with us on how we can strive for the development of Rehoboth and how the National Planning Commission can assist us into partnering with development partners from all over the world. We also visited various other establishments such as the Social Security. With that, we were exposed to how the Hardap in the Karas students do not use the opportunities provided to them in terms of scholarships, and other projects were introduced to us whereby we can link our community to engage and also to use the services to empower themselves. We have a mandate which is core to our calling as councillors, that is delivering service. That's the core basic mandate. Upon assuming duty, the Rehoboth Town councillors requested an update from the administration on what and where are we with various projects. We have inquired on our utility bills, where are we, and also on our development projects and capital projects. Update was given, and then we decided to visit certain utility entities, such as Namibian Water Corporation. Before I go there, I would like to also extend my special thanks to the residents of Rehoboth for their patience, for carrying us as the council that is only stepping in, and with patience, and allowing us with space where we could really demonstrate our leadership skills. I would also like to thank the administration and the councillors where in that regard, where they sacrifice their night and they sit here until they had a plan of action in place. And then we inform the community on the steps ahead. It is sometimes too premature to inform community and create panic. Therefore, we were looking at all avenues and how we can solve the problem and how we can progress with the problem until that stage there we were forced to inform the public, although still working on solutions. I would also at this juncture want to thank and make special mention of the Governor of the Hardap region, Honorable Ryan McNabb, which showed leadership when I called him as a political leader of this town to inform him on the problem that we are facing in terms of the imminent water suspension that we were facing. Me and the Honorable Governor went on a freeway call with the Honorable Minister of Urban and Rural Development, Honorable James Sankwasa, and we briefed him. And he said, it's a crisis, therefore I'll be there. Make sure, Honorable Governor, Honorable Mayor, make sure that by 4 o'clock you have the full council and you have the administration to provide answers and a way forward. It is worth mentioning that Honorable Councillor Edward Wambo played a critical role in ensuring and passing on the historical know-how as to how our bills, utility bills, have escalated to that extent. I, as the chairperson of the council, had to inform the Honorable Minister that how we came to that conclusion that the water must be suspended. And it is not an easy thing. But when we went to name water, we were informed, me and the chairperson together with the administration, we were informed we have stopped paying. These are public knowledge, so therefore it is easy for me to talk about this. Me and the chairperson was informed that we did not pay since April 2025. And immediately the council took leadership and the council informed and instructed the administration to start paying immediately. Therefore, I would also like to thank the CEO, the finance manager through the CEO, that he adhered to this instruction immediately. And for February, we paid the commitment that we made. We started to resume the commitment, and therefore from that day onwards, payments were made to NAMWADA. Besides those payments and an agreement to wait for the installation of water meters in our town, NAMWADA proceeded with a demand letter to say we are going to suspend water. The Honorable Minister was adamant, but also graceful and wise in his counsel when he came to the Rehbof Town Council, and he assisted us in steering the ship from the stormy waters to the calm sea. So therefore, I can assure the residents of the town of Rehbof that we are safe. There will be no water suspensions that is imminent, but further consultations how to address the problem permanently is still in progress. We thank all stakeholders, all concerned people, and especially the residents of Rehbof for coming out in numbers and starting to pay immediately what was due to the council. That made it possible for us to contribute. We were not bailed out. The council paid the lump sum, which I will not disclose at this date, because NAMWADA said you need to pay the lump sum before we can continue talking. So the council was able to pay the lump sum of the instruction from the minister. So we have paid that lump sum, but the negotiations are continuing to look at a lasting solution. On housing and housing development, we are pleased to announce to you that we are partnering with many other organizations such as the SEC, as well as NEC, pulled together, and we are progressing in that regard. However, I should register my disappointment in the application of new urban, When the residents apply for new airmen, we are unable to provide due to lack of bulk service infrastructure, ample land, but not being able to service the land. We have also, at this juncture, to acknowledge our problems and challenges that we are facing as a council. We want to root out any nepotism from our council. We have learned the lesson and it's better to repeat again. Therefore, I'm calling on the council administration and the councillors to avoid trying to employ only our own people. We acknowledge the problem, we are dealing with it, and we will report back. Underperformance, as was said in my address to the staff, will not be tolerated. Good customer service is a must. Our people must feel valued because they are the ones providing for our salaries and allowances. Therefore, we call on all residents to be vigilant when they visit our office, and also to we'll avail a box of customer service where you can register your dissatisfaction if there is such. We also pray and also hope that peace will be maintained throughout the world. We think especially about the Middle East and the United States of America, because those issues, as far as they seem, are also having an effect on our livelihoods. We pray that God gives guidance and that peace is restored to the world. The Rehoboth Town Council staff members carry the heaviest of loads in ensuring that we keep abreast of latest developments in the local authority space, as well as providing guidance to the councillors. Therefore, we call on professionalism at all times. We call on transparency and accountability. I'm always repeating when I'm talking to my staff members that we are not doing a favor to do our jobs. In fact, we are paid to do our jobs. In terms of audits, the Honorable Minister asked us the same question. You have some of the financial statements outstanding, and the Rehoboth Town Council was able to prove up till 2025 financial year, 2024-2025 financial year, that we have finally submitted all of them to the Attorney General and is eagerly awaiting the recommendations thereof, or what you call the audit opinion. Judging from the audit opinion, the public call to have a forensic auditing must emanate from the audit opinion to be provided by the Auditor General's office. Therefore, we call for calm to the community as we await this opinion. Service delivery must remain the heartbeat of this institution. When water pipes burst, when electricity fails, when sewer networks collapse, the response must be swift, disciplined, and responsible. Reports on infrastructure failures must reach supervisors on time, and they must come up with clear plans on how to fix the problem. Complaints without solutions do not build towns' action stars. Proactiveness is key. We cannot react. We must be proactive. We are also open for official communication from any resident of Rehoboth that would like to communicate with us and require any public documentation in order to curb speculation, as we have provided to the RCR. But we must also be honest with ourselves as a council. The financial state of this local authority is difficult. We do not hide from the reality. As the leadership of this council, we accept responsibility to confront it. We are actively exploring ways to bring stability to our finances, whether through internal reforms, improve revenue collections, or partnerships that can bring outside support. Our goal is simple: to reduce the burden of debt and leave behind a financially stable local authority for the next council to inherit. However, this responsibility does not belong to the council alone. The people of Rehoboth must also look in the mirror and assist. Defaulting on payments, ignoring arrangements for rates and taxes, illegal electricity and water connections, vandalizing council assets, removing road signs, stripping poles and wires from town lane camps to build houses. These actions damage the very own town we all depend on. Illegal land grabbing slows down proper town planning and drains resources that should have been used for development. Every one of these actions weakens this institution. Residents and businesses must ask themselves a simple question: are we serious about managing this town together? These are difficult times. Times like these force a choice upon us. We either rise to the occasion or we fall by the wayside. Leadership is not leadership until it has failed trials and come out on the other side. I choose to rise, and I can call on this council and on the people of Rehoboth to choose the same. Before we point fingers at others, we must first interrogate ourselves. Once we do that honestly, we can move forward and deal with the real work that lies ahead. The truth is clear. Our infrastructure is deteriorating, and our revenue collection is modest to poor. Yet we expect services to function as if everything is normal. Nearly 60% of our town is not meeting its financial obligation to this town council. Every ratepayer has a responsibility, including us as councillors and staff members of the Rehoboth Town Council. This institution should be collecting what is owed to it so that it can provide services effectively. Instead, often we find ourselves scrambling to pay bulk suppliers, operational costs, and the daily expenses required to keep town running. I also would like to, at this juncture, report on one of our visits to other stakeholders. I have recently visited the Namibian, the Ministry of Works, in order to seek clarity on the ownership of the Rio Spa. Although premature, we can say that we remain the owners as the Rehoboth Town Council, and we also did away with what was planned, and we would want to maintain the Rio Spa in its original intention, with its original intention. We also would like to thank various community members that took the initiative to build and clean around their surroundings. Dear residents, if we don't clean around our surroundings and keep count of those that are littering, the Rehoboth Town Council cannot all come and clean your yard. We also acknowledge at this juncture the challenges that we are facing in terms of refuse removal, and we acknowledge that we are not providing the service that we should. Therefore, immediate action is called on from our staff members that this need to be improved as these services are paid for. To the new council, history will not remember us for the titles we hold. It will remember us for the struggle we were willing to endure, the discipline we maintained, the decisions we had the courage to make, and the persistence we showed when the road became difficult. Various cost-cutting measures has already been put in place by this council. The council, if not mandatory, will not travel with 7 councillors. It's either 2 or 3 at invitations. It's only when it is mandatory, such as the induction that we need to attend from the 23rd of March to the 27th, that the full council will be traveling. The travel cost has been reduced and employment at the council has been freezed to this effect to cut costs, amongst many other cost-cutting measures internally introduced by each of the departments. Councillors, our place in the history of this town must be earned through hard work, shrewd thinking, determination, and faith in the people we serve. But beyond politics and administration, we must remember something deeper, the ties that binds us as human beings and as a community. There is a word used in South Africa, Ubuntu. Ubuntu reminds us that our humanity is tied to one another. It teaches us that none of us stand alone. We become stronger by caring for those around us and for sharing responsibility of the communities we call home. Let that spirit guide us in Rehoboth. Let it guide the relationships between traditional authorities, faith communities, civil societies, state institutions, government agencies, this council, and the residents we serve. Yes, there are many who are quick to repeat the negative stories about the institution. Some happily amplified the perceived failures of the institution, but resist every attempt at reform. We know this, we see that, and still we move forward. We welcome criticism, but we welcome prayers, guidance, coming in, writing to us. Let's sit together, let's plan together, because this town ultimately belongs to all of us. It is only a custodian role that the 7 councillors play, but it is a bigger meaning when we call the council to order at any point. When we, as residents, tell the council, we want to see you today, and we want your advice on this and that. We want to advise you on this and that. We are open to that. Because our duty is not to please critics. Our duty is to rebuild this town that we so dearly love, that we so dearly want to serve. And when the road becomes difficult, when the night grows darker, when doubt creeps in, and the work feels heavier than our strength, let us remember the examples of Madiba. In the silence of this prison cell, he found comfort in these words. It matters now, not how straight the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. We appreciate the Rehoboth community in its diversity that tends to serve and shows deeper love than any other town towards the town of Rehoboth. The sense that can be experienced on ownership of Rehoboth cannot be experienced in any other town in this country. Therefore, we are proud to call our town Anes, to call our town Rehoboth, to call our town Space, and to call our town Remde. Diversity connects us. Mutual respect binds us. And the ear to listen in the ability to be redirected. We stand open. We want to stand united. We will fail. Surely we must fail, but we will stand up. Those words remind us that leadership demands courage. Rehoboth has faced difficult seasons before, yet this town still stands because of the people are resilient. Together with discipline, unity, and a shared commitment to the future, we will move this town forward. I thank you. With that said, we will now move to the agenda. I call for the adoption of the agenda of the meeting of the council on the 6th of March 2026.
Thank you, Worship. I would like to, before the adoption of the agenda, to request that the council consider additional 2 points on the agenda, under 3 points actually. Under point 5, under point 6, sorry, interviews with deputation of persons summoned or requested to attend for a meeting, that during that particular instance that the council or the chairperson ask for a recess of 5 minutes so that the council can have a special presentation by Anno Investments on a change of approval that they previously submitted and was approved on. It will only take 5 or 10 minutes. And then under point 11.1.2, Youth Development Project Cemetery Cleanup Initiative. It's under the Office of the CEO. It's actually driven by the Office of the Mayor. And then under 11.4.12, under Technical Department of Infrastructure, Town Planning and Technical Services, request for consideration, deliberation and approval on a formal sale and transfer of Erwin 1161 and 1235 Block E, Extension 4, as 2 additional points. Actually, it's Anno Energy. My apologies, Your Worship. Those are only 2 points. There are an additional point, but it has been referred to in camera, which have to be discussed there. I so submit, Your Worship, is that all? Yes.
I would call for proposal of these additions to the agenda. Councillor Justin, could you?
Your Worship, I propose.
Second point. Councillor Novasis.
I will second.
Now that the agenda has been adopted, are there any applications for leave of absence and declarations of interest by members of the council? I don't think there is. All members of the council are present. Then we move to 3.1, application for leave of absence, declaration of interest by members of council. Is there any councillor that would like, or any administrator that would like to declare interest? None. Now, the confirmation of minutes of the previous meeting of the council. Confirmation of minutes of the previous meeting of the council, OCM 30 October 2025. And minutes of the continuation ordinary council meeting held on the 25th of November 2025. The confirmation of the minutes. If councillors pick up something then we're at 4.1 in 4.1.1. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, Councillor Tara.
Your Worship, may I ask something quickly? Okay. Chairperson of Council.
Honourable Councillor, you are allowed to sit.
Okay, thank you. Chairperson of Council, before we adopt the agenda, may I please seek clarity? I take note, Your Worship, that in the agenda, we will be confirming minutes of a meeting held by the previous council on the 19th of November 2025. With this in mind, may I refer you to the Standing Rules of Order Rule 7, Sub-Rule 3. If the minutes of a meeting of a committee or any portion of the minutes are submitted to a council as contemplated in Sub-Rule 2, the minutes or the portion of the minutes are confirmed by a quorum of the members of the committee at the meeting of the council. Now, Chairperson, with this rule in mind, is this council empowered to confirm minutes of a meeting where we were not present? My understanding of this rule is that minutes may only be confirmed by a quorum of those who were part and parcel of the meeting where the decision was made. If this is not done in accordance with the rules in place, the decision may be challenged and found to be null and void. I suggest in future the outgoing councillors end the business of the day before their departure. As a novice, Your Worship, I stand to be corrected. I so submit.
Councillor Tara, it is noted. I refer you to the CEO for guidance.
Thank you, Worship. Yes, it's correct what Councillor Ndara was mentioning, but the standing rules is only mentioning about the minutes to be confirmed at the meeting of the committee in the current committee as it's supposed to be. But the minutes, as we said previously, are not approved on the basis of the execution that was done already. The execution of what was done already is in terms of the resolutions under point 13, where the execution of resolutions also need to be discussed when the minutes are studied by all the councillors. So it doesn't have any effect whether it's the minute that it can be confirmed by the old council or the new council. It's only a matter of process and principle that the current council is not in an incumbent status, but it's on a policy status where the council has to accept the drafting of the minutes as it is and drafted with the resolutions that was made, where the verifications of the resolutions can be made under point 13 to make sure whether these resolutions has been executed or not.
Councillor Tara, is there any clarification that you seek further?
No, thank you, Worship.
Therefore, the reason why I'm pacing through the minutes is for formality, because we had 72 hours to look through them. So therefore, we'll continue on page 8. Page 8, we received the agenda way in advance. If there's anything that you picked up that you want to share, spelling mistakes, most probably because these resolutions that is taken here is not binding to us, but to the previous council. Page 9. Page 8, do you have
Your Worship, page 8. Page 8, sorry.
page 8?
It's the motions, okay. Chairperson of the council, looking at this motion, and this is just for future consideration. As I am aware that at this point, we have no say in the correctness of the minutes besides minor spelling and grammar correctness. Standing Rule 15, Sub-Rule 2 reads as follows. Subject to Rule 12, Sub-Rule 2 and 18, an unopposed motion is passed without discussion and without being seconded. However, this rule makes reference to Rule 18, which says a motion must be referred to MC if it has any legal or financial implications. This gives the MC and the relevant administrators time to make an informed decision to be referred to council for adoption. Going forward, can we please give attention to that? Chairperson of council, I so submit.
Well noted, Councillor Dara. Then we can continue on page 9, page 10, page 11, page 12, page 13, page 14, page 15, page 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. Confirmation of minutes is done. Is the proposal that we accept and a proposal that we secondment. Proposal to accept. Councillor Kaiser proposed.
I proposed.
Secondment of the confirmation. Councillors. Councillor Kutsia. We move on to the official announcements, statements, and communications. If there is any official announcements, there is a space where the PRO is to make an statement, announcement towards the decorum of this house. Be seated.
Thank you, Your Worship. Good afternoon, honorable councillors and management and members of the community. The following are the decorum of the Rehoboth Town Council chambers. Please observe the following rules when entering and using the council chamber, especially during ordinary council meetings. Entry is limited to councillors, authorized staff, invited guests, and accredited visitors. Public entry is permitted for open council meetings only. In-camera sessions are closed to the public. Maintain respectful and professional behavior at all times. No disruptions, side conversations, or disorderly conduct is allowed. Follow all instructions of the chairperson. Phones must be on silent at all times. No calls may be taken in the chamber. Speak only when recognized by the chairperson. No abusive or offensive or inappropriate language is allowed. No eating in the chamber is allowed. Water permitted only if authorized. No audio, video recordings, photography, or live streaming without written approval from the office of the CEO. Strictly prohibited during in-camera sessions in particular. That also apply to the honorable councillors. Use only designated seating areas, both for the management, management, council, and guests. Public must remain in the visitors' gallery and not on the official seating arrangements of council and management. Do not remove or distribute council documents without permission. Confidential material must be respected at all times. Formal or business attire is required. No flip-flops, pluggies are allowed in the chamber. Keep exits clear at all times. That refers to the door. Do not tamper with equipment or furniture within the chamber. Report any damages immediately. Thank you for respecting the dignity and order of the council chamber for the Rehoboth Town Council. This is issued by the Office of Public Relations through the Office of the CEO. Thank you.
Thank you, Public Relations Officer. Is there any other official announcements? I would like to announce at this juncture that, as was directed by the Honorable Minister James Nkwasa, all pensioners and those living with disabilities must come into the office of the Rehoboth Town Council Finance Department and complete the database survey, and therefore with the aim of writing off the debts. All information pertaining to that will be provided by the Finance Office once the pensioners and the disabled people will visit the chambers. Also, then the Ministry of Urban and Rural Development has give 34 million Namibian dollars for the transformation of conventional water meters to prepaid water meters. Therefore, the residents are asked to permit the suppliers to install prepaid water meters at their houses. Thus, prepaid water meters will function immediately, and once that water that is allocated with the meter is done, pensioners will pay 15 Namibian dollars for the tariffs, rates and taxes, and before they can buy water, while those under 60 will pay $30. For clarity, I'm handing over through the CEO to the finance manager.
Thank you, His Worship. Just referring to the, I recognize the protocol that has already been established, and I welcome the members of the public here because this is a very important session and the first OCM of this council that is leading the way into this new age. Just allow me quickly, I would like our residents to please refer to the current approved tariffs of Rehoboth Town Council. Those tariffs indicate that pensioners, there's a lot of pensioners who haven't come and registered. So there might be instances where they are still being charged basic water charges and basic sewerage charges where they should not be. Because the simple thing is, once you turn 60 years old and one day you bring your ID and we waive those two fees for the pensioners, which means that the pensioner will only pay $108 for the removal of refuse per month and $8 for fire brigade services. That is for the basic charges. It depends on what your current rates and taxes is. That will also be charged on the prepaid meter. So every pensioner will not only pay $16, but the rates and taxes will also be charged in advance. Plus a $35 rental fee for the prepaid meter. What this means is the council is taking full responsibility for the prepaid meter. The prepaid meter remains the property of the council, which means the council must insure that prepaid meter against damage, or should it become redundant, we will replace it at no cost. So the residents of Rehoboth will never pay for a meter again. The council will replace it at the council's cost. So if we calculate all those amounts together, you won't be able to say for certain, but it is $116 for your basic charges, $35 for the rental fee, which brings us to $151, plus your rates and taxes. Thereafter, the pensioner can purchase water. So if your current rates and taxes is $150, you will have to pay $301 before you can purchase water through the prepaid meter system. The same principle applies to non-pensioners. However, non-pensioners will have to pay a rental fee of $70, and the total basic services is $431, which means that a non-pensioner will pay $501 plus your rates and taxes. So should your rates and taxes be $300, you will be required to pay $801 before you can purchase water.
The information is clear, but the direction from the chairperson of the council stays the same. You will pay 115 when you are a pensioner, and you will pay 350 when you are a non-pensioner, until we go out to the community with that information. So for now, the finance manager through the CEO is directed to adhere to that, because that is the information you allow us to give to the community. So then we cannot say, how can I pay $800 if I want $50 water? First, the $850 now, which I don't have. So for now, the direction is that, Mr. CEO, we have committed to the 116 and the 350. So it stays until we go back to the public and then inform them accordingly and give them grace period as to understand and summer the new information. I saw Tarek. Is there any other announcements, CEO, that I might not? We have to announce the public meetings through the Office of the Public Relations Office. We will start next week, Sunday. We will start with the public meetings. You will be informed on our social media and also the media at large where the meetings will take place. We will have block meetings where we will group different blocks for a community meeting in that area, so that we can bring the questions and the inputs of the people to the people. So therefore, as of tomorrow, you will be informed where you are blocked or grouped or clustered, and the public meetings will assume from next week, Sunday, not this week, the one that is coming. Is it the one that is coming, Desiree? 16th. That's when the public meetings, the cluster public meetings will start to take place. Then we move to interviews with deputations of persons summoned or requested to attend the meeting of a council. Therefore, we have a short presentation from the group that was added to the agenda. So we will kindly ask our residents to, in the live stream, to be off for just 10 minutes. 20 past 3, we will resume with the rest of the agenda. I kindly ask the general public to excuse us and wait just for 10 minutes. If the 10 minutes pass, you can come in. If they are not done, then they are not done.